This is the Elling E4 and it's full of surprises. It is built in Holland but not made of steel or aluminium. It's self-righting, so if you manage to roll it over, it'll roll back again. And all of this to show spec is only €1,000,000 excluding VAT, which when I show you on board, you will realise is pretty stunning value for money. Let's have a look around. I'm Jack Haines, you're watching YachtBuyer. They've been building this model since 2004, but this is a brand new version, though they are not going to be doing radical changes. There are little tweaks here and there. It's very successful. They've done about 350 of them. So they're not going to do revolution, but there are some little changes I'm going to point out to you. Obviously, it looks a little bit dated in places, especially in this colour scheme. It's very white, but you can of course change that. So you have a fixed bathing platform. If you want to carry a tender, you can do it with a crane or a passerelle, and you can fit a Williams on here, so you can carry a decent tender if you want to. Then we have nice easy access only up one side into the cockpit, and it's an aft cabin boat. So yeah, this is your main outdoor living space. You've got your transom bench over there. This little perch, they call it the Harbour seat, because it's such a nice place to sit and watch the world go by, but it's quite clever if you come round, Rob. If you take this off, if you're on the move, you can stow that and it becomes your fender basket. So you can stow your fenders there. Then when you're in port, you put this back in and you've got a seat. Another seat here, obviously this is a really well protected area. If you want to sit outside when the boat's going along but it's really rough, this would be a nice place to be because you're well protected by the wheelhouse. Now one of the little changes they've made, which may sound like a little change, but to their owner, their customer, this is big. You've now got this manual radar arch. This used to be integrated. You can now drop this down. I said it's manual, nothing to go wrong in terms of hydraulics or electrics, and that takes the air draft down to 3.45 meters. So if you're cruising inland in Europe or elsewhere, that is really helpful that you can drop all this down and reduce that air draft. I can actually demonstrate how this works. There's a pin that holds it in place. Pull that out. It is completely manual, so you just got to get some leverage. Pull on the light mast. It's quite heavy, but let's watch the aerials. And there you go. Bridge ready. Right, on with the tour. Before we get into it though, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you'll never miss another tour like this one. We'll look inside in a moment. Let's just stay on deck. These are generally run by two people, often one person running them on their own. So yes, you're high up, but it's nice and safe. Railings behind me, railings here. This is a side gate that just slides across, and there are steps built into the side as well. Could be going through locks, couldn't you? So getting on and off from the side decks is really important. They've made that very, very easy indeed. There's some nice detail here. I like the back lighting on the E4. In fact, lighting is one of the things they've changed throughout, just to make it a little bit more subtle, a little classier. These lights dropping beams down over the windows here. Moving forward, again, it's a bit plain and stark on this particular version, but you can put sunbathing cushions here. So yes, it's a sturdy Passagemaker, but you can do some sunbathing if you want to, and this is a nice little feature. When you're in the harbour again, you pop this up, and you've got your nice seat right at the bow, drink in hand. That's lovely, isn't it? Pop it down again, and off you go. Right forward. Anchor locker, pretty simple really. Obviously you've got access to your chain down there, windlass, and look at that chunky spotlight right on the bow. I'll just use this opportunity to have a look at the sunroof because we're going to see it from inside, but windows are all double glazed. And it's a fiberglass roof, clearly, there's no glass in there, but interestingly, it slides forward. We'll see the benefit inside, but they also say that makes it easy to clean because you can slide it forward and then stand on the foredeck and get to it more easily. Right, let's head inside. So the raised pilot house, one of the key changes first, again, it's all small stuff on this model, is this window. This is bigger and it opens up, so you can now get some more ventilation, but also have a greater connection between this internal dining area and the external one. So this is a nice place to sit. If the weather's not so great, you can still, as a passenger, God, this is comfortable, be inside. You're raised up, so your view's great. So if it is rolling around a bit, it's nice that you've got a clear view of the horizon, and you're next to the skipper in a very focused helm station, which has got the suspension seat. You might say this is a sort of Dutch take on a Fleming or a Nordhaven, but unlike Nordhaven, this is not made for single figure speeds. Yes, if you cruise at 8 knots, you'll get 1200 nautical miles out of it, but it will also do 17 knots. So it's nice that you can get a bit of move on if you want to. And you've got 2 engines. Single main engine, Volvo Penta, 480 horsepower. You've also got a wing engine, and it's a totally separate system. 30 horsepower sail drive. We can actually see the separate engines, obviously, and the drives. We're going to have a look at those later on underneath the boat. But quite an interesting setup for redundancy, and clearly shows you this is a boat that's designed to be used, and you have plenty of backups if things maybe go wrong. Helm position is great. Nice big wheel. That is quite a long way away, the MFD, but I have got a switch here, so I can control that remotely, which is nice. And it's, yeah, you sit back, you're bouncing along, this is fully adjustable. You can imagine just powering through the waves, spray going over the top, but you're very well insulated from it in here. Practical as well, you've got these map lockers above on either side, and of course the sunroof. So you're not really getting the benefit at the helm, but over the seating area, you can open it up to the elements. Oh, we have to mention self-righting, of course. I mentioned it in the intro, but what does that mean? Well, it means that if it gets knocked down by a rogue wave when you're on passage, it will pull itself back onto its keel, and they filmed the process as well. The owner of the yard has sat inside, they flipped it over with some straps, and sure enough, there it is, back on its keel. That shows you the type of conditions this thing can go through. That's lifeboat level of safety on a production boat, and it's why it's designed the way it is. Single engine, low down, low centre of gravity, creates a big air bubble if it does go over, and that's what helps flip it back onto its keel. Right, moving downstairs. This, I think, is one of the best features on board this boat, and it is a layout that you just don't really see anymore on motorboats. You notice you've got the 3 windows there. That one just pops open for a bit of ventilation. Of course, the wind's likely to be coming over the bow, so it's nice that it'll filter in, but it's so open down to this area. And this is a Liveaboard boat. This is a boat that people will live on board for long periods of time. So having this really comfortable, homely lounging space. You can feel the beam down here as well. Comfortable sofa, like upstairs. Even bigger table, opposite the television. But what makes it feel less like a boat and more like a home is having these armchairs. You can just imagine music on, lights on, drink in your hand. This is a really nice place to sit. It's very, very sociable, and headroom's great. The Dutch are tall, so they tend to, make headroom a priority, and it's really, really good down here. Let's start forward with the accommodation. So you have a day head here, but it's a big one. You can just see how easy it is to move around. Shower cubicle that they've dropped down on the floor, so headroom's good. Electric toilet, sink, etc. And then forward of this is the guest cabin. So you've got a small double that side, a single this side, quite flexible accommodation. Often, as I said, it'll be 2 people, but it means that if they've got guests on board, they've got quite flexible space with this forward cabin. Storage up there, nice big hanging locker in here. And then as we move the midships, this is quite an interesting space because this is really quite flexible. Obviously, this is an office on this boat. You could have another single berth in here if you want to prioritise sleeping space, or it could be a utility space. But sink in here, washer, dryer, that sort of thing. So that's really up to the owner what they want to do with that. And this is another great piece of design. Real seagoing galley. Again, feels very sailing boat style. You just don't really see this on motorboats anymore, but there's a lot to be said for it because you can wedge yourself in so you feel nice and safe if you are at sea. It is stabilised. I'll talk more about the stabilisers later on. Decent portion of countertop on both sides. Induction cooking. There's extraction overhead too. Dishwasher. And a domestic sized dishwasher as well, on a little pokey boat dishwasher. Cooling space up here. Fridge and freezer. And actually, this is how you access the engine. Obviously the engine is right in the middle of the boat and you have to use a key to get to that section, but we can actually have a look from the aft cabin. Another design element that is falling out of favour, but when you see it you think, why don't more people do this? This lovely full beam aft cabin. So you've got a king size bed, and I'll get onto the actual rest of the cabin in a moment because I want to show you the engine access. So this is towards the aft end of the engine room, and in there I can see the generator. The engine is just tucked down there, but you can get in really easily down that side, as I said, and there's also a seam in the sofa above, so if they do need to remove the engine, given it's in the middle of the boat, they can do that. But you can see how easy it is just to poke your head in from within the boat, check the engine room space, make sure everything's okay. In fact, I think a kind soul has just opened that engine room hatch. Come with me, Rob. Look at that for service. There you go. So that's what it looks like when that hatches out. There's your single Volvo D6 480. Again, a boat of this size, it's nice to have such a compact engine. Easy to work on, just one of them. Day-to-day stuff, once that hatches away easy, you've got your dipstick and raw water strainer all on this side. And as I said, if you do need to fully remove it, which is pretty unlikely, they've catered for that as well. Very good. Let's go back to the cabin. And actually just a point on how well insulated everything is, because obviously in this cabin you're very close to the machinery, so they've put a big onus on the insulation. They have to because of where the engine is, but obviously they've accounted for that with the levels of insulation they've used. Right, nice bed, all built-in furniture. You've got storage upon storage, storage all under here. This is actually access to the wing engine. I'm going to poke the camera down here, Rob. So that's the 30 horsepower Volvo Penta, has a totally independent prop and rudder. We'll have a look under the boat at the end of the tour and I'll show you that. But that's how you get to the wing engine. Bathrooms here. This isn't huge, feels a little bit compromised, but you've still got your separate shower cubicle, toilet, and of course it's totally private, which is nice. And the nice thing about this layout is owners down here, guests are right forward. So if you have got a boat full, you've got this big galley and saloon in the middle, separating everybody and maintaining privacy. Okay, that's on board. Let's go and have a look underneath. Let's hope these boat show stands are secure, shall we? But I want to take the opportunity to show you underneath, because we don't get to do it very often. So this is the main shaft and propeller. So you've got the big rudder behind it. But the difference here is we've got the wing engine with the sail drive, and it's got its own rudder. Often with boats that have got wing engines, you've just got the prop and you rely on the main rudder, but they've accounted for an issue where maybe the main engine's gone down, or there's something wrong with the prop and the rudder, which is very unlikely, but you never know, and they're giving you a second rudder. So you've still got steerage, even if you're just relying on the wing engine. Now with 30 horsepower, it's only gonna do 6 knots, but it gives you a means of propulsion. And I did mention the stabiliser, so here it is. They use the DMS system. Obviously it's not fitted because it's on the show stand, but this is what it looks like. So when it's not in use, this cylinder lies right underneath the hull, so it doesn't protrude as much as a fin system. Also, you only have it on one side, so you don't need one on either side like you do with fins. And then when you use it, it swings out like this and spins back and forth, and that's what helps to stabilise the boat. Pretty cool system, that. Now I know there's plenty of newer looking, flashier stuff here at Dusseldorf, but I think it's really important to show boats like this because I think you guys will really like what this boat stands for. Equally, I think there's so much to be said for the design. This is a style of motorboat, not the trawler style, but in terms of the layout that we're losing. And you see something like this and you think, that is such a good arrangement for a boat, for something you want to live on board for a long time. Really capable, easy to run, and I think, considering how capable it is, pretty remarkable value as well. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Thank you for watching that tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do give us a like if you did, and do subscribe if you've not done so already. If you want something a bit different from the Netherlands, how about our sea trial at the Zeelander 8? That's up there. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.